Hi everybody, welcome back to Right to the Top. I'm Adam. In today's video, we're going to look at some vocabulary. And specifically, we're going to look at some phrasal verbs, and I'm going to put them into a business context for you. I'm going to show you an email using the 7 phrasal verbs that we'll look at today. But before I get started, if you want to help me keep this channel going, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification button so you know when new videos come up. Tell your friends about it, let them improve their writing skills as well, okay? So let's get started. What are phrasal verbs? Now, I know you've watched me do these kinds of videos in the past, and I always say a phrasal verb is a verb and a preposition. That's not technically true. A phrasal verb is a verb and a particle, but the particle looks like a preposition. So now you're thinking, well, what's the difference? A verb and a preposition mean exactly what the verb means and what the preposition functions as, right? So for example, if you run across the field, run means, running, like walking really fast. Across means where? Over the length of the field. So you have the verb, you have the preposition, they're working exactly as they're each supposed to. But if you run across an acquaintance on the street, run and across no longer function separately. Now they are combined into a new idiomatic verb, a verb that has a different meaning than the two words individually. To run across means to meet by chance, an unplanned meeting, right? And that's what a run across means as a phrasal verb, compared to run across as a verb and a preposition. So let's look at 7 of these particular phrasal verbs and see how they work. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is reach out. Now again, if you're looking at only the verb and the preposition, reach means extend the hand, out means out away from your body. But as a phrasal verb, reach out means try to make contact with. So if you're trying to make contact with an acquaintance, with a business partner, with a colleague, etc. If you feel depressed, you should reach out to friends to help you feel better. If you're feeling depressed, try to, meet or make contact with a friend who will talk to you, listen to you, and help you get over your depression. That's reach out. Another one, work through. So again, I'm just going to look at the phrasal verbs from now. To work through something means to try to overcome it or try to find a resolution. So when you work through a problem, you're trying to solve the problem. Okay, you're trying to overcome it. Here's an example. Don't ignore problems with colleagues. Rather, reach out to them and try to work through the problems to find a solution. Now you'll notice I'm going to try to take whatever was the last phrasal verb and try to integrate it into the new one, into the example. Reach out to them and try to work through the problem to find a solution. So again, work through, try to overcome a problem, find a solution, get over a difficulty, etc. Next, put aside. Put aside. So when you put aside something, you basically tend to try to ignore it or to not let it affect the present situation, whatever it is you're doing, right? So to temporarily ignore something, usually it's a difference or a disagreement or like you had a fight with somebody, but you have to do something with that person. You put aside the fight, you put aside the argument, and you focus on the present situation. In order to work through a problem with a colleague, you'll need to put aside your differences and focus on the problem at hand. You and your coworker don't like each other, put that aside and focus on the project, have your fight later on or on the weekend or whenever you want to do it. Next, hand over. To hand over means to give possession of something or some sort of concept like power or responsibility, to give it to somebody else, okay? In some cases, putting aside one's differences might involve one person handing over some power to the other. So if me and a colleague are having a disagreement, in order for us to put aside our differences, I may have to hand over some more power to him, hand over some more feeling of righteousness to this person so that we can get along and work on the problem at hand and forget our differences at least temporarily. Next, call out, okay? When you call out something or you call someone out, you are drawing attention to something, usually something negative, a problem or a misbehavior or something that's improper or inappropriate, okay? Could be an action, a situation. Just because you've handed over some power to a colleague, that shouldn't mean that you can't call him or her out when you feel that power is being abused. So, okay, you handed over the power, you gave that person some more power, but that doesn't mean that that person can abuse that power. And when he or she abuses that power, call him out on it, call her out on it. Means make sure that you notice it and make sure that they notice it as well so that they can stop doing it, so that you guys can get along. Next, tune out. To tune out means to not pay attention to something or someone or some people, etc. Now, usually when we use this, we're talking about like things that can negatively affect us, like gossip or negative chatter or even just media attention, right? If you called out a peer's improper behavior and he tunes out your objections, there may be greater personal issues at play, such as his having narcissistic tendencies. So you had a problem with somebody, you called out that person's problems, that person tuned you out. It means they didn't pay attention to what you were saying. They pretended they didn't hear what you said. There may be some bigger issues. That person may be a narcissist. A narcissist is somebody who focuses way too much on themselves, loves themselves too much, thinks they are the best, etc. So it's not a very good situation. And last one, come across as. To come across as means to appear or be perceived in a certain way, okay? If you come across a narcissistic personality, do not simply tune it out. Call it out at every opportunity or risk handing over more power to that person. So I threw in a lot of those phrasal verbs in there just to show you how they're being used and what they mean in context. So if somebody comes across as, if somebody appears to be or seems to be, or you look at them in that way, then you should act accordingly. Now, a lot of, 7 phrasal verbs. I want to show you an email, and this email is specifically to a conflict resolution. So there's a problem at the office, maybe the manager and one of his, or a project manager and one of the team members are not getting along. HR had to be involved and asked the manager to email the team member and try to solve the situation, okay? So here's the email. And the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to see a structure of an email. It's not too long, very straightforward, just get right to the point. And I've included all 7 of the phrasal verbs so that you see how they work in context and in a natural way. One word of advice. Do not stuff so many phrasal verbs into one piece of writing. I'm only doing this to show you how they work. Do not necessarily write like this. 1, 2, maximum 3 per writing section. Otherwise, it looks like a little bit forced. And it is forced here. I forced it to show you what it means. But again, look at it, study it. If you have any questions about it, you can go to the comment section and ask me about anything you're not too clear about, okay? Again, if you have any questions, ask me below. If you like the video, don't forget to click like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends about it. And come back next time. I'll give you some more useful vocabulary. See you then. Bye-bye.